In 2005, I was traveling to Tokyo in my former passport, which had my male name and gender marker. I was stopped by immigration officials and harshly questioned for hours. The experience left me feeling helpless and humiliated. Every day, trans people all over the world face extraordinary discrimination simply because their official documents don't match their chosen gender.
In the beginning of my transition, I had a lot of trouble with my ID, and I would be happy to go to the airport with my makeup on, and I would be like, "Hey, I'm getting close to the end of my transition," but I still had my ID that was, would still say male, and there were some people that in security that would feel that it's okay to pick on me.
The contradiction between who I really am and what my gender marker identify me as set me up to be harassed by people who have no right to pry into my sexual identity.
I remember not having my name changed on my IDs. It kind of took away from how I felt. How I felt wasn't validated.
One of the biggest fears that I have had as a trans man, and I know this is a big fear for my family, for my mother in particular, was that I would never find anybody to love me for who I was, and never find someone to be able to commit themselves to me because I'm trans, that at some point I'm not going to be adequate enough. And that's just not the case.
It's important for transgender people and gender-variant people to change their name and gender marker in their documents. It's basic human rights to be able to exist in a community or a society that really match who you really are.
When I met the first couple trans people, in the city, they would say, "Oh, look, I just got my new ID and it says female now," and I changed my name, and they would take those little steps, and I'd kind of be like, I kind of want to do that too. I kind of had that realization that it was possible.
If I could use a gender neutral marker on my ID, I would, and I guess I haven't changed it yet because that option isn't available.
I know the feeling of not being able to change it because in the United States you have to go through a set of hoops, all this red tape to change your gender marker. You need a letter from a surgeon, or you need to go through hormone therapy. You have to do some step to get to that point.
Having your paperwork changed is a part of the transition. It's a physical and medical transition. It's also a legal transition on paper. There's also an aspect of socially transitioning too, right? So this was just a part of my journey. So what it did was just reaffirm me as the man that I am, and really fortify me as the man that I am, and that now I can have my ID in my pocket and not feel any kind of trepidation when I pull it out.
I want other people to know that it's not always about looking male or acting male.
So having a proper documentation that represents who you are just makes life a lot easier for you to be able to just exist.
It really has created a safe space for me, being able to do that, and I think that's so important for trans people all over the world.
We need to make reform to make gender marker easier to change. This will allow transgender to go from being harassed as outsider to feeling like we belong.
It would be amazing if people could just say, I'm Sawyer, I'm a male, and have my documents changed, and have that reflect who I am. And it would be amazing if it was accessible to everybody, regardless of your income or where you live.
The big dream is hopefully we come to a point that this doesn't matter. Information are now easily shared So people are aware, but I think it's much more powerful if we find our ways to create our own platform so we can tell our own stories and tell our own full lived self.